Everything begins with a thought. Before a dream becomes a goal, before a plan turns into action, it starts inside your mind. The truth is your life is not controlled by your circumstances. It's controlled by how you think about those circumstances. Two people can face the same challenge. One gives up, the other grows stronger. The difference isn't luck. The difference is mindset. When you think small, your world shrinks. But when you start thinking with purpose, with belief, with possibility, the same world opens new doors for you. The power isn't outside you, it's inside your thoughts. Every day you have two choices: to feed the thoughts that drain your energy, or to feed the ones that give you power. Your thoughts create your emotions create your actions, and your actions create your results. So if you want to change your life, you must begin by changing your thoughts. Tell yourself, I am capable. Even when you fail, remind yourself, this is not the end, it's feedback. Because positive thinking is not about ignoring reality, it's about believing that no matter what reality throws at you, you will find a way through it. Remember, the words you repeat to yourself every day are writing your future story. If you say, I can't, your mind will find reasons why you can't. If you say, I can, your mind will find ways to make it happen. So take responsibility for your inner dialogue. Surround yourself with people who lift your mindset higher. Guard your thoughts like treasure, because that's exactly what they are. When you change your thoughts from fear to faith, from doubt to determination, from what if I fail to what if I succeed, life changes with you. Because the world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you believe. Your life is a mirror that reflects the thoughts you hold inside your mind. Every action you take, every word you speak, every habit you build all begin as a simple thought. The reality you experience on the outside is nothing more than a projection of what's happening within you. If your thoughts are full of fear, doubt, and limitation, your life will reflect those same emotions. But when your mind is filled with hope, gratitude, and confidence, your life naturally begins to shine with opportunity and peace. Think about it, two people can live in the same environment, face the same challenges, and yet have completely different experiences. One sees obstacles, the other sees lessons. One focuses on what's missing, the other focuses on what's possible. The only difference between them is the quality of their thinking. It's not the situation that defines our life, it's our interpretation of it. When your mind is trained to look for growth instead of failure, you begin to attract solutions instead of problems. Every successful person you admire once decided to think differently. They faced moments of fear and uncertainty like everyone else, but they refused to let negative thinking control their direction. They knew that what they focused on would expand. If they focused on fear, it would grow stronger. If they focused on purpose, it would become their driving force. The thoughts you choose to entertain are like seeds planted in the soil of your mind. What you water will grow. If you feed your mind with discouragement, your life will harvest regret. But if you nourish your thoughts with belief and persistence, you'll see a garden of success bloom before you. The truth is, your external life will never rise above your internal thinking. A mind filled with negativity can't produce a positive life. Every time you think, I can't do this, you're creating a limit that doesn't exist in reality. It only exists in your mind. But when you shift that thought to, I will find a way, something changes. Your energy shifts, your focus sharpens, your confidence awakens. Life responds differently to those who believe in possibilities. To elevate your life, you must first elevate your thoughts. Begin your mornings by feeding your mind with gratitude, not complaints. Replace self-doubt with self-trust. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed? This single shift in perspective has the power to transform everything around you. Remember, the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Your mind is the architect of your reality. It designs the life you live. When you choose empowering thoughts, you build a foundation of strength, peace, and growth. Change your thinking, and your entire world begins to change with it. Every person faces challenges in life, moments that test patience, courage, and strength. But what truly separates those who rise from those who fall is not the size of the problem, but the mindset they bring to it. Your mindset shapes your response, and your response determines your outcome. Life will always throw obstacles your way. But how you choose to think about those obstacles defines the story you create. Some people see a wall and stop. Others see the same wall as something to climb, break, or go around. The difference isn't in the wall, it's in the mind. When you approach a challenge with fear and frustration, your mind shuts down. You see limits, not options, but when you approach that same challenge with curiosity and determination, your perspective changes. You begin to ask different questions, not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What can I learn from this?" That simple mental shift changes the energy you bring to every situation. Instead of reacting with weakness, you respond with wisdom. Instead of feeling defeated, you discover your strength. The truth is, challenges are neutral. They don't come into your life to break you. They come to reveal what's already inside you. They test your mindset, not your worth. When you start believing that every difficulty carries a hidden lesson, you stop fighting against life and start growing with it. You begin to understand that your greatest struggles often prepare you for your greatest breakthroughs. Every storm you endure shapes your character, sharpens your vision, and strengthens your resolve. A fixed mindset sees challenges as threats. It avoids discomfort and fears failure, but a growth mindset sees every challenge as an opportunity to evolve. It doesn't ask, "Can I handle this?" It says, "How can I handle this better?" This mindset allows you to transform pressure into progress. You start to value mistakes because they teach you more than success ever could. The moment you stop seeing challenges as punishments and start seeing them as teachers, you reclaim your power. Your thoughts, during difficult times, decide how long you stay stuck. When you focus on problems, you feel trapped. When you focus on possibilities, you feel empowered. The same moment that could break one person can build another, depending entirely on the thoughts they choose. The power of mindset lies in perception, the ability to see light even in the darkest hours. Every challenge you face is a mirror reflecting your beliefs. If you think you're powerless, you'll act like it. But if you believe you have control over your attitude, your resilience grows stronger. You can't always choose what happens, but you can always choose how to think about it. That choice determines whether you stay down or rise higher. In the end, it's not your challenges that define you, it's the mind set you bring to them that shapes who you become. Everything you do, every result you achieve, begins with a single thought. The mind is the starting point of every action and the foundation of every success or failure. Your thoughts are not just passing ideas, they are the architects of your emotions, and your emotions drive the actions you take. Those actions, repeated over time, create the results that shape your life. The formula is simple yet powerful. Asterisk asterisk thoughts, emotions, actions, results. Asterisk asterisk change begins in the mind and spreads through every corner of your existence. When you think positively, you feel empowered. You generate emotions like confidence, hope, and motivation. These emotions fuel purposeful actions. You take initiative, you stay consistent, and you keep moving forward despite difficulties. On the other hand, negative thoughts create fear, doubt, and hesitation. Those emotions lead to inaction or poor decisions, which ultimately produce unsatisfying results. Every outcome you experience is a reflection of what first happened in your mind. For example, imagine someone who constantly tells themselves they're not good enough. That thought triggers emotions of insecurity and fear. Those emotions make them avoid challenges or give up easily. The result is a life of missed opportunities and regret. But if the same person replaces that thought with "I can learn," "I can improve," "I can grow," their emotions shift to courage and enthusiasm. That change in emotion drives stronger action. They try, they persist, they evolve, and as a result, their life begins to transform. Nothing magical happened. It was all a chain reaction that began with a single thought. This is why mental discipline is so important. The mind can either be your greatest ally or your biggest enemy. Every morning you decide which one it will be. If you feed it with gratitude, focus, and faith, it will produce emotions that uplift you and actions that align with your goals. But if you let it wander into doubt, comparison, and fear, your emotions will drain your strength and your actions will lose direction. The mind doesn't wait for permission, it simply responds to whatever thoughts you allow. Your emotions are powerful indicators of your inner thinking. If you constantly feel frustrated, it's a sign your thoughts are negative or limiting. But when you start to think with clarity, purpose, and belief, your emotional state shifts toward peace and confidence. From that emotional state, better choices become natural. You begin to act with consistency, speak with conviction, and pursue goals with persistence. Those actions bring results that mirror your mental state, success, growth, and fulfillment. Real change doesn't start with doing something different. It starts with thinking something different. When you change your thoughts, you change your emotions. When your emotions change, your actions align with your purpose. And when your actions align, your results follow naturally. This is how transformation happens quietly, powerfully, from the inside out. Everything you want in life begins in your mind, and it's your thoughts that decide what kind of life you'll create. Positive thinking is often misunderstood as pretending everything is perfect, even when it's not. But true positive thinking is not about denial, it's about direction. It doesn't ignore problems, it faces them with belief, hope, and the confidence that solutions exist. Life will always bring difficulties, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. Positive thinking doesn't erase those realities, but it gives you the strength to respond with clarity instead of panic, with calmness instead of chaos. It is not blind optimism, it is realistic power. When you think positively, you are not saying everything is fine. You are saying, even if it's not fine, I can make it better. That small shift in belief changes everything. It allows your mind to focus on what can be done rather than what can't. A positive thinker doesn't deny that the mountain is high, they simply believe they can climb it. This mindset creates resilience, determination, and creativity. Instead of wasting energy on worry, they invest it in finding ways forward. Negative thinking, on the other hand, limits your vision. It makes problems seem bigger than they are and blinds you to possible solutions. When your mind is filled with fear and self-doubt, your energy drains and your ability to think clearly disappears. You begin to accept defeat before even trying. Positive thinking flips that pattern. It fills your mind with faith and purpose, reminding you that no situation is permanent and no problem is unsolvable. It's the inner strength that whispers, "Keep going," when everything around you screams, "Give up." Consider how two people can face the same situation, one falls apart, while the other finds a way through. The difference lies in mindset. The one who believes that every problem carries a hidden solution looks for it until they find it. The one who focuses only on the problem remains stuck. Positive thinking doesn't change the external event, but it transforms your internal reaction, which eventually influences the outcome. Realistic positivity is built on self-awareness and belief. It acknowledges pain, but refuses to be consumed by it. It admits that something is difficult, but also insists that it's not impossible. It focuses on progress, not perfection. This kind of thinking builds mental strength, a strength that allows you to stay steady when life gets rough. The truth is, problems are not what stop us. It's our attitude toward them. When you choose to believe that every challenge has a purpose and every failure teaches a lesson, you rise above negativity. Positive thinking is not a fantasy, it's a powerful, realistic tool that helps you take control of your thoughts, emotions, and direction. It transforms fear into focus and doubt into determination. It is the belief that no matter how dark things seem, there is always light ahead, and that light begins in the mind of the one who refuses to give up. Every day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you are having a conversation with yourself. That inner voice, often unnoticed, shapes the way you see yourself and the world around you. The words you say to yourself daily become the foundation of your beliefs, your emotions, and eventually your reality. Self-talk is not just random chatter, it's a powerful force that programs your mind for success or failure. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly affirming what kind of person you are and what kind of life you will live. When your self-talk is negative, your confidence slowly fades. Thoughts like "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," or "nothing ever works out for me" act like invisible chains holding you back. These words feed fear, doubt, and hesitation until you start to believe them as truth. You begin to limit your own potential, not because you lack ability, but because you've convinced yourself that you do. On the other hand, positive self-talk builds courage, focus, and resilience. When you tell yourself, "I can handle this," or "I'm improving every day," your mind starts to look for evidence that supports those beliefs. You become more determined, more patient, and more capable not because the world changed, but because your words changed your inner world. The mind listens closely to the language you use. It doesn't argue or question, it simply follows direction. If you repeatedly speak words of defeat, your subconscious accepts them as reality and acts accordingly. But if you fill your thoughts with words of belief and hope, your brain aligns with that energy. You start to make choices that reflect your new mindset. You take risks, you learn faster, and you recover quicker from setbacks. The transformation always begins with what you say to yourself. Self-talk has the power to either break or build you. Every successful person understands the importance of mastering it. They talk to themselves in a way that reinforces strength and focus, even in tough times. They may feel fear, but they remind themselves that courage is stronger. They may fail, but their inner voice says, "This is not the end, it's a step forward." Over time, these small affirmations create unshakable confidence. The words you repeat become the beliefs you hold, and those beliefs shape your behavior. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control what you say to yourself about it. The right words can turn pressure into power and pain into purpose. So start speaking to yourself as you would to someone you deeply believe in. Replace self-criticism with encouragement and self-doubt with self-trust. Your inner dialogue is writing your story one sentence at a time. Choose your words wisely, because they are not just thoughts, they are blueprints. The future you dream of begins with the conversation you have with yourself today. Belief is the invisible force that shapes every visible outcome in your life. It is the quiet power that determines how you think, how you act, and ultimately what you become. When you believe in something deeply, your entire mindset shifts toward making it real. Belief changes the way you see opportunities, face challenges, and respond to failure. It creates focus when others see confusion, and strength when others feel fear. The truth is, your destiny doesn't change by chance, it changes by belief. Everything great ever achieved began as a belief. Every invention, every success story, every transformation started with someone who believed in the possibility before seeing the proof. Belief gives direction to your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your actions. When you think differently, you act differently, and those actions create the life you desire. The difference between people who achieve their dreams and those who give up isn't always talent or resources, it's belief. The one who believes refuses to quit when things get hard, while the one who doubts finds reasons to stop. Belief is more than just hope, it's conviction. It's the fire that keeps burning when results are delayed. It's what helps you stay consistent when no one is watching. Belief creates resilience because it gives meaning to your struggles. When you believe you're meant for something greater, every failure becomes a lesson, not a defeat. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "What can I learn from this?" That mindset alone transforms pain into progress. The most powerful part of belief is that it changes how your brain and body respond to challenges. When you believe you can achieve something, your mind opens to solutions, your energy rises, and your creativity expands. You become more alert, more resourceful, and more willing to take risks. But when you doubt yourself, your potential shuts down before you even try. You miss opportunities not because they don't exist, but because disbelief blinds you to them. Belief also attracts what you focus on. When you hold faith in your vision, life aligns itself with your persistence. You begin to meet the right people, notice the right chances, and develop the right skills. What once seemed impossible starts to unfold naturally, step by step. It's not magic, it's the science of mindset. Your belief sets your intention drives your behavior, and your behavior builds your destiny. Even in the darkest moments, belief keeps you moving. It whispers that there's still a way, even when everything seems lost. When you truly believe, not half-heartedly, but deeply and consistently, you unlock a power greater than fear or failure. You stop waiting for luck and start creating change. Life always responds to the strength of your belief. The moment you decide to think differently, act boldly, and trust deeply, your destiny begins to transform, not someday, but from that very moment. So, as you walk away from this message today, remember this truth: your belief is the seed of every miracle that will ever happen in your life. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to take the first step with faith. The world will not change for you until you first change what you believe about yourself. Believe that you are capable. Believe that your dreams are valid. Believe that your journey has meaning, because when you start believing deeply, life begins to move in your favor. Every dream you hold, every goal you chase, is waiting for one thing: your unwavering belief. The moment you decide that nothing can stop you, not fear, not failure, not doubt, that's the moment your destiny begins to shift. So hold your head high, keep your faith strong, and move forward with the conviction that your belief has the power to create the life you were born to live. Asterisk, asterisk, because in the end, it's not luck that shapes your future, it's belief. Asterisk, asterisk.